Hey everybody. For those of you who've been following VentureCrowd closely, you'll know that we've been bullish on the southeast Queensland property market for many years, and today it remains one of the strongest property markets in the country. The Gold Coast, for example, has had price increases of over 80% over the last 5 years alone, and it's not stopping anytime soon. Hey Dave, good to see you.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing.
Yeah. So first of all, are you from Brisbane originally?
I am from Brisbane.
You are?
Well, you look suspicious, but... So just let me look, because this is stuff I have to try and remember a little bit.
Well, then you'd know the market pretty well, wouldn't you, Dave?
I would know the market reasonably well, I hope.
I've had a little look at the renders and it looks pretty beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about buying one for VentureCrowd. The shareholders will let me do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's just go back a little bit though. For those who haven't met you, let's talk about your background in property and in development. Can you give us a quick bio of where you've been and the kinds of projects you've worked on?
Yeah, sure, Steve. Working backwards, I've been head of property at VentureCrowd for the last 4+ years. In that time, of course, we've specialised in housing and land developments, townhouses in the southeast Queensland region. Also a partner of Whitting Partners, part of the White family, doing a number of things around the southeast Queensland market. They of course are the largest real estate agents in Australia. Prior to that I was head of Grocon, did the BHP Tower, which actually sits behind us, you can probably see in the background, and also stints with Lang O'Rourke and as a development director for the giant multiplex.
And how are you feeling about southeast Queensland as a market at the moment? It's obviously gone through a lot of growth post-COVID. Is it over? What is the view about the next
look,
sort of...
not at all. The demographic trends that are evident in the Australian market are favouring the southeast Queensland corner. As the ageing population grows, they're moving north to the sun. That includes obviously the Gold Coast and Brisbane as well, and of course Brisbane is also the beneficiary of what will be happening in terms of infrastructure for the Olympic Games in 2032.
Yeah, and we're starting to see some really interesting things happen on the Gold Coast in particular. I think, I won't say gone are the days of just cookie cutter high-rises, but certainly there's some really interesting unique developments that are being built in that area, and I think this particular project is one of those. Why do you think that's changing? Is it just the sophistication of the buyer, or what's going on in that area that's driving quite interesting architecture?
Yeah, well look, there's a couple of different factors at play there. One of the ones in terms of post-COVID is the inability of large builders to build those large apartment developments. Also on the demand side, of course, people who are moving out of the large family home in Sydney don't necessarily want to go to a two-bed apartment on the Gold Coast, and they're looking for different product, including 3 and 4 bed houses and townhouses, which can suit them much better later in life and still be a family home.
Yeah, and not feel necessarily like downsizing whilst actually achieving that same outcome.
That's right.
This particular project is in Carrara. For those that don't know it, 8 kilometres from Broadbeach. Can you tell us a little bit about what makes this site particularly unique as a location?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, you really have to get down there to see it, or look on our website for some of the aerial footage we've got, but it is a completely unusual site. It is not your usual cookie cutter townhouse site where everything is built in kind of concentric rectangles looking at each other. We are on a peninsula, and one side looks at Broadbeach and the other side looks at the beautiful mountains, which are not too far away.
Yeah, it's actually a really beautiful site. I love the aspect down onto the conservation area as well. So this particular site, Dave, the actual buildable area is relatively limited on the ridge, isn't it? But what it benefits from is a really decent amount of conservation area.
Absolutely.
That will be landscaped and brought back to its original sort of native form. But that's all view and parkland and walkways for the people that will ultimately live there.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's unusual. You don't find that very often anywhere.
I've rarely seen it before, and
Yeah.
it's the only thing of its type in the market.
Yeah, yeah. So Dave, tell us about the actual dwellings themselves. What's on offer and what are the prices?
Sure, Steve. We've got a range of dwellings on site. We do have a house. The rest are grand villas, and they are split up between 3 and 4 bed. There are some different designs so that people can make some choices. For example, some of the 4-bedders have double masters in them. So really what we're aiming at for that are the downsizer market that can have still parents living on site or even adult kids, and each of them get some equality in the bedrooms and the views. So you can get into a 3-bed grand villa for under 1.4 million, and you can certainly get into a 4-bedder for under 1.9. So we think those entry prices are really attractive given what else is on the market on the Gold Coast.
Very exciting, and I love. Tell us a little bit more about the security issue. I think security was an issue for a little while on the Gold Coast. This is a gated community, isn't it? So it's quite luxe in terms of from the moment you arrive.
Yeah, look, absolutely. Security was one of the features that we were primarily concerned to attend to in the design of the development. So you're right, it is gated. Because it's on the ridge, there is no approach other than over the Carrara wetlands to try to get to it.
Yeah.
That means it's a pretty secure site.
And this particular site has some really high-end resort-style facilities, doesn't it? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, Steve, we can. We're going to be building out a herb garden for the residents to maintain for themselves. We've also got a massive pool area and barbecue facilities overlooking the Broad Beach vistas.
Yeah, I've had a little look at the renders and it looks pretty beautiful. One of the big concerns in the property market over the last couple of years has been the ability for builders to get on site and actually begin construction. But this is running at full pace, isn't it, Dave? Where is construction at the moment? What does the program look like over the next 12 months and through to completion?
Sure. Well, look, Steve, the civils will be complete in May. They have been delayed slightly by the rains over Christmas. That would be no surprise to anybody, but they're probably 7/8 of the way through. The roads are in, the infrastructure is in, retaining walls are going in, and it'll be ready for the house builders in May. And that means we're starting on site, and the first stage will be complete within 12 months, and we'll be moving seamlessly on to the second and third stages, and the pool and the recreation facilities will all be being built in the first stage.
Yeah, that's super exciting. At this stage in the development then, when you've got contractors on site, civil works underway and builders ready to roll in, the next question on investors' minds will be sales risk. So
Sure.
There's some really hot demand for this, isn't there?
Yeah,
what
sure.
are you seeing in terms of demand from buyers?
Well, effectively, we got all our material ready last year, and we did what we call a soft launch, and we've already had 2 people who've signed EOIs going to contract. That is a really healthy take up. We're pretty confident, given our price points and our product, that these will fly off the shelf.
Yeah, and from a project perspective and an investment perspective, what are you most excited about seeing what happens in Carrara over the next 12 months?
Look, obviously growth. If our investors and our residents and owners can see capital growth as well as a fantastic lifestyle, I think we've really done our job.
Tell us about what you're seeing in terms of growth on the Gold Coast market, and what does that look like for the next 12 months?
Well, sure, that pressure that we talked about with a lot of the southerners moving north has translated, of course, into massive price increases on the Gold Coast. So Core Logic in the year to August 24 said that prices had risen 10.5%, and Propertyology for this year projects price rises between 10 and 13%. So, if that was to translate to our development, by the time you had to settle on the first stage, you could really be in the money.
Yeah, that's exciting. It's definitely an exciting forecast for the Gold Coast. There's a couple of big things driving that too, isn't it? Domestic migration is certainly one. I think I read a stat this morning that suggested 250,000 Sydney-siders are now based on the Gold Coast, and that's a decent amount of people over a short period of time. But then there's a level of infrastructure that's going in. There already was quite a strong infrastructure program, I think, in that part of the world, but I think it's been brought forward, has it not, by the Olympics announcement?
Well, also by the Commonwealth Games that of course happen on the Gold Coast, so quite a fair bit of infrastructure went into that. You've got extensions of the rail line from that goes through Broadbeach, which means that you can go up and down the coast, and that will be extended, of course, moving south towards the airport, and also north towards Helensvale over time. So we are the beneficiary of that infrastructure. Gold Coast, of course, already has a lot of natural beauty. I think one of the reasons why a lot of Sydney-siders move north is the golf courses. I think we've got, something like 9 of them within spitting distance almost of the Carrara estate.
Yeah, it's a very, very exciting location. I really love that part of the world. It's very, very beautiful. And it's great to see the level of sophistication in some of the developments that are coming through, changing the nature of it and turning it from, I think, what we used to think of as the Gold Coast, 20 years ago, to what it is now, which is quite a vibrant, sophisticated, beautiful area. Dave, what are you most proud of in this project?
Well, look, I'm really proud of the way our team has pulled together to do such a fantastic design. It'll be validated, of course, by the market, but I think for any developer, when residents get in and they're seen to be enjoying it, they probably don't look at the planning we've put into it to think about things like the residents' herb gardens, which are just a little bit extra that we think our demographic will love. The sustainable aspects, the beautiful views across the site, they'll all be magnificent when it's finished.
If you want to find out more about the Carrara project, you can go onto the VentureCrowd website for all the details. Dave, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you,
I really
Steve.
appreciate your time.